Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Pulse Pods. You're listening to your host, DJ El Pablo. Are you trying to find true meaning to life and living? Then you are at the right place. Welcome to Pulse Pods. Listen and gain something new today. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pulse Pods once again. It's your host, DJ El Pablo. This is episode 29 of the Live, Love, Learn series that we started a long time ago. And in that series, there is the 5 Love Language series that we have. We've had 6 parts, all through from part 1 to part 6. And now this is the last part 7, the concluding part. And this is the part that, just summarizes everything. And then if you haven't listened to part 1 to part 6, you would not fully understand what we are saying here. So try to listen to all the other 6 parts. And thank you so much for being a consistent listener. I'm talking to you for being a consistent listener. As you're listening to this, you've been listening to it from the first episode, and now we are in the 29th episode. So thank you for being a consistent listener. You are very important to this journey, and you are part of the family. Thank you once again. So we're going to be summarizing the 5 love languages in this episode and probably read some comments. And then as time goes on, because we're evolving as a family, we're evolving as a podcast, we're adding new features every day, we're evolving, putting things in prospects and trying to help you enjoy this journey as we go along. And that's basically the fun of having this whole family together. But thank you so far for listening. Now, the 5 love languages in summary. The 5 love languages is a concept created by Dr. Gary Chapman that outlines different ways people give and receive love. Understanding and speaking your partner's love language is key to maintaining a healthy and fulfilling relationship. The first love language is words of affirmation. This means expressing love through words that build up your partner, such as compliments, encouragement, and appreciation. Saying I love you and thank you and even sorry when you've offended your partner can go a long way in making your partner feel loved and appreciated. The second love language is quality time. This means spending undivided and uninterrupted time with your partner. It is about giving your partner your full attention and being present at the moment. Now, activities such as going for a walk, having a meal together, or simply sitting and talking about things, anything, life, nature, events, can be incredibly meaningful for your partner, right? Now, the third love language is receiving gifts. This means giving and receiving physical gifts such as anything that is thoughtful and heartfelt and deep. Actually, giving and receiving gifts is my love language. But if you want to hear my story about giving and receiving gifts as amongst the other love languages that I express, listen to the previous episodes. Now, the giving and receiving gifts is a means by which we can spread or spend or even express or show love to our partner. It is not necessarily about monetary value of the gift, or the monetary value of the gift. It might be cheap, it might be expensive, but it's not the monetary value. It's actually the thought and the effort put into it. Small, thoughtful gifts can be incredibly meaningful and show your partner that you are thinking about them. The fourth love language is acts of service. Now, this means doing things for your partner that makes their life easier and more comfortable. Now, it could be something as simple as doing the dishes or running errands or even taking out the trash. These acts show your partner that you are willing to put in the effort to make their life better. And the fifth and final love language is physical touch. Now, this means expressing love through physical touch, such as hugging, kissing, or holding hands. For some people, physical touch is incredibly important and necessary for feeling loved and secure in a relationship. It's also good for bonding. But there's one thing that is consistent, that is one word that has been consistent all through these 5 love languages, and that is effort. Putting in the effort to make your partner feel loved. Putting in the effort to make your partner feel loved. If everybody does their role in a relationship, we will have so many fruitful relationships and we'll have less divorce. I don't want to go deep into details with that, but if everybody plays their roles in the relationship, and what I mean by playing their roles is, for example, if everybody loves their partner the way their partner wants to be loved, not the way you think your partner wants to be loved, then we'll have fruitful relationships. And I've always said this all through the first 6 episodes, or first 6 parts. I said, have these conversations, talk about it from the beginning, from when you guys are dating to when you get married. Talk about it. Be talking about it consistently. Remind yourselves, because sometimes life can happen and make you to forget about things, or to actually even make you lose sight, or sometimes get distracted because there's too many things calling for your attention. Talk about it. Have these conversations. And then we can now be progressive with our love and our expression of love and our deliberate and our being deliberate in loving our partners. Now, understanding your partner's love language can make a world of difference in your relationship. By speaking their language or their love language, you can create a deeper connection and a more fulfilling relationship. It is important to remember that everyone's love language is different, and it's worth taking time to figure out what works best for you and your partner. And I would always say something, and I've always said across this series, I've said, sometimes what works for A might not work for B, but to become a better C, you can take from A and take from B, take the positive from A and take the positive from B to become a better C. So that's what it is. Everybody's life experiences is not the same, right? Everybody's life experience is not the same. So the most important thing is to take a cue from what has worked for some people that is good, and then apply it, because everything about life is experience. And you build up your experience through sometimes seeing what people above you, people that have done it before, have done to succeed. And the truth about it, it's not like you're copying everything. It's just like evolving and applying whatever situation to your situation. And if it works, fine. If it doesn't work, keep moving. The truth is, we keep growing and evolving every day. So if you've been following through this series, you would see that I always ask a question. And you can check these questions out on Spotify. And also don't forget to give a 5-star rating. I always ask a question at the end of every podcast. And one of the questions I asked was, what are your love languages? And how do you express your love language? And most of the comments I got back were acts of service. Very few people said physical touch. Others said things like quality time. Some people said words of affirmation, but you can see that there's a spread. But most of the ones that I received are acts of service, right? Some people even said acts of kindness. So it's also acts of service, right? Because if you're serving someone or serving your partner, you're being kind to them, right? That's your own way of expressing love, right, to them. So but there was one comment that was interesting. It was deep, but interesting. So she called it acts of inclusiveness. And that is situation where her partner includes her in everything he does, in her schedule, makes a thoughtful effort to put her in his plans every day. And that is what speaks to her, right? That is actually what speaks to her. That's kind of like acts of service, right? So makes every effort to put her in his plans for the day or for the week. You can put her in your plans to spend time with her. You can put her in your plans to buy her gifts. You can put her in your plans to help her schedule her schedule. Those kinds of things. So these are the examples that, her partner actually paid attention to because he was very deliberate. That is the effort we're talking about. So we got deep into that conversation and it opened my eyes to certain things. And it's just basically a mix of so many things. It's a mix of like all 5 love languages, words of affirmation, quality time, giving and receiving gifts, acts of service, right? Physical touch. So he can actually, so when she said acts of inclusiveness, it just made everything, it tied everything together. And then there are so many people. There was even one that asked about that is it good to be attracted to the person you're in a relationship with? And I gave her a simple yes, because the truth is, what's the essence of a relationship if there's no attraction, right? And then it depends on the kind of relationship, because there are very many kinds of relationship and very different levels of the relationship. So it all boils down to what resonates with her. And that was it. So basically, it is very important to have that conversation with your partner about these love languages and how they want to be, how you want to express your love to them. Thank you very much for listening so far. I was going to feature someone on this episode, but due to some technical issues, I couldn't put up the episode. But much later down the journey, we will put up that episode as a special. But thank you very much for listening so far. Now, you can listen to this podcast on every platform. Every day we work hard to try to put this podcast everywhere. So you can listen to this podcast on every platform. But on Spotify, you can actually give your reviews. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and also put your comments to some of the questions or post your comments to some of the questions that we put up there. That's one. Another one you could actually do is there is a comment section on the link tree where you clicked to listen to this podcast. Now you can actually put your comments there or your questions. I'll be willing to answer. And if it's something that's beyond me, I'll get a professional to feature on this platform to answer those questions based off of their life experiences and all the things that they've been through. And I could also get a young person who's going to give us their own experience and be able to answer your questions if it is beyond me. But I will do my best to read your comments. And if you would like for me to state who you are or give your identity on the podcast or to feature you, just let me know and you'll be featured. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless your heart. Thank you for listening to Pulse Pods today. We hope you've learned something valuable to help with your daily life and living. Pulse Pods is on social media, and you can literally find Pulse Pods on every social media platform where it is. Just simply search at Pulse Pods on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you could also send an email to pulsepods@gmail.com for any advert, questions, suggestions, or sponsorship. And also subscribe to Pulse Pods on all of the platforms where you find your podcasts, ranging from Spotify to Google Podcasts to Anchor, and anywhere you find your podcast, Castbox, Beta Radio, Breaker Radio, any platform whatsoever, Apple Podcasts. And just subscribe and listen, and God bless your heart.